So we should be on. Okay, Mr. Estes, we're ready.
All right, 6:04. I now call to order this regular meeting of the Roby Consolidated Independent School District and Board of Trustees. Today is May the 18th, time is 6:04. I verify we have a quorum of board members present per provisions of the Texas Open Meeting Act, either in person or through video conference. I have 6 board members present, and Mark Harris is through video teleconference software. Mr. Carter, will you verify that we comply with the Texas Open Meetings Act provision concerning the notice for this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Edmondson, will you please bring us invocation, please?
Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for this school. We thank you for, Lord, just your hand being upon it, Lord, just for those that have participated, the staff that we have, God, the leadership, Lord, how you've blessed it to this point. You've made a way. Lord, we certainly don't know all things. Lord, we ask that you would grant us wisdom and knowledge, Father, as we make decisions, and you'd have grace upon those things, Lord, that you'd bless those that are involved. You'd bless this school. You'd bless Mr. Carter as he leads. We need your help. We ask you to be with us tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Carter, do we have anything on public comment?
We did not.
Bring in.
Yes.
Appreciation.
You ready? Guys, tonight for acknowledgements and appreciations, we're bringing in our art program. Mr. Young, our teacher, is going to show off some of his artwork, and I'm going to also share some artwork that he also sent to us as well. And don't get nervous. We have about 1 million viewers right now, so you just bring them on, and everything's good to go. So all is good. And so he has some artwork here from some of our students. We had a lot more students that were going to be here last week, and then of course we had to reschedule. So we do have a lot more people that we wish that could have been here, but we wanted to at least acknowledge the ones that we could get here. And so I do know that Mr. Young could definitely get 2 of them up here. He definitely personally knows 2 of them, so I knew we could get some here tonight for that. So Toby, if you want to go ahead and start talking about those, and I will share up on the screen the others.
All righty. She is a 5th grader. So the things I start out with them are kind of just some basic color schemes and how to mix things with temper paint. It's basically, I guess, what we call finger paint, but they use brushes and everything, but just little simple things that you can do to make a good looking composition and colors that work well together, and basically showing them how you can make something look really cool out of something really simple. And we just try to, build on that as they go through the years. And I start them out in 4th or 5th grade. I start them painting. The smaller kids, it's kind of fast and furious in there. We don't do much painting with them, but I like to start them out on landscapes because they're, like I said, it's an easy way to teach them how to do a lot of techniques and mixing and texture and different skies, basically the same way, just different colors and shrubbery and trees and rocks and water and how to create space and everything. So we go from, simple like this to, Houston's a freshman and he tried his hand at painting. And so you can turn around. So
the operative word there, guys, is try.
Try.
We'll get that right there and tell us what try looks like. Okay, so let's just make that real clear what that is. Yes.
There's plenty of crash and burn that goes on with this business, but it advances. Like they learn, with oil paint, it's a more advanced medium where you can actually make bigger, more permanent type. Anyway, there's a UIL competition for high school and junior high art. It's called the base competition, and they have it every year. And this year we had to do it remote because of COVID, but they usually get to go and be with all the other art people, and they have to go into a room and like explain it to the judges, and it's a big thing and it's real fun for them. But we had 3 enter the vase competition this year, and Houston was one of them, and that was the painting that he entered. And the rating systems is a 1 through 4, 4 being superior, and all of our entries got a superior rating.
Wow.
They all advanced to regional, did not advance to state, but I think they were close. They all got medals. Houston, the top score you can get is 60 is perfect. What'd you get?
57.
57. So he scored nearly perfect with that. So we got some good ones. Now this one was, y'all can see, this one was not entered. This was a student. She was a little shy, and I tried to get her to enter the base. She did not want to compete, but this was an example of another student's work that, just they go in there, they get their canvas, and they'll pick something, they'll start painting them, and I'll, kind of like how I guide them. I'll show them a little something or tell them what they can change, and they work on it. And so that was Morgan Foster's painting. This one was, I believe that was Levi Bromley. And he's another freshman, and he's one that I did not expect to be able to come out and actually, perform like that. But he received a superior rating with this painting. Once again, it's and the way base is set up, they have classes like if they've been in art before or if they've competed before. So this was class 1, the art 1 students. Like I said, I like to start them out with landscapes because you can do a lot of cool stuff, and it's not trying to put some human or something real specific like a dog or a motorcycle engine or something we hope to advance to that. But, like I said, you can make landscapes. They're pretty simplistic, but you can make them look really, really good. There's Houston's. This was Taylor Moore's. She has had art before, and I believe she got second in her class. Houston got second in his, and Levi got third in that class. But once again, just the mountains, the technique for doing the mountains, the sky, the trees, and everything. It's all about learning the water, just creating the illusion of different things. And once they learn this, they kind of take off on their own.
Mr. Young, can you also, are they ranked only with 1A?
Oh, no. No. We're by far the smallest school that's at this thing. Like the only other schools that compete in this are big schools. So we're the only little school that I'm aware of when we're there. I mean, they're all 5A schools that have 20 kids that bring stuff. So there's Maudie Fortuna. She decided she wanted to start painting after the semester. And when we found out that she was really, really good at it, she, it was too late to enter her work in there. But hopefully next year we'll be able to enter her best stuff. But she's really taken off. She does a painting about every week now. So she's really taken to it, and she's got the goods. Brady Etheridge, he's in 8th grade, junior high kid. So here he is. He's learning how to do. So like I said, I teach him how to do techniques for sky, how to blend and brush techniques and everything. And there's Brady. He's working on how to do clouds and realistic looking sky. So hopefully we can get him up there. Let's see, is that Levi?
Yeah.
He's working on some kind of little painting. All right, here's another thing that I have them doing in the classroom. And there's the kids that really like to paint, and they take to it and they're serious and they want to compete. And then there's the ones that are just, well, I'm in here, what can I do? And we found out that we can take our ceiling tiles off, and they pick like a cartoon or something, and I let them paint on those. You know, it kind of gives them a idea of leaving something permanent, like where they get to years after they're gone, they're like, I have a tile up there, and but they like to take the tiles down and like I approve them and tell them that would be good. So hopefully we'll get all our tiles painted and it'll look real neat. But like, you know, there's probably about 10 students working on. There's some more doing the tile. There's Taylor Moore. She's doing the Garfield one. And sometimes they tag team them, like a couple of them will get together and they'll all work on like the same. And like I said, those are really the kids that I guess they may be intimidated by trying to do like oil painting or trying to do something for competition. So I think if I let them start on something like this, that it's going to build their confidence and maybe pique their interest and say, well, I think. So some of the ones that started doing this, I've got them doing things on Canvas now, and hopefully it progresses to and my goal is to get more of the kids that are in the class to enter into the competition. There's Morgan Foster. She's just, they get, like I said, once they learn a few things, they get their stuff and they just kind of take off on their own, and I'll guide them and help them and suggest, you know, maybe you can do this to make it look a little better or do that. But I told the kids, my goal is to make it to where they're all better than I am. They're like, you want us to be better than you? I'm like, yeah. All right.
Mr. Young, that's all of them.
That's all the slides. But Staley's great, these younger ones, like the fifth graders, they've all done similar. Like Kevin probably can. Christy's probably brought
that
some
palm
things.
tree looks really familiar.
Anyway, it's going good. Like I said, I hope to get more competing is the goal.
If any of y'all have seen Bob Ross, if you just look at Toby, if he were to get the curls and the hair, we might could pass him off as Bob Ross.
He's a lot faster than I am.
Yes, but Mr. Young does a fantastic job, and Ms. McWilliams can tell you when we look at course request, we have to find other places for our students to go because we have so many that want to go into art. And so that is a testament to what he is able to do with them. And just look at the artwork that they're able to pull out. And that's phenomenal. And, you know, any of these kids can walk into another job and, you know, having some type of art skills can definitely help them. Plus, you know, there's the scientific, you know, behind the fine arts. And so that's something that we were really very happy to have when we brought Mr. Young on board. So, Mr. Young, thank you so much for what you do for us. So, thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
Work on that hair.
I will never have her.
I believe me, I'm good doing that. Yeah, you can leave it open. That's fine. Yes, sir.
Let's move on to the bond.
We're going to do introduction of coach and coach. Board, at this time, I would like to introduce to you guys to the man that's on the screen right now, the man with the plan, our new athletic director, Matthew Tarbutton. And he is our new athletic director and head football coach. And, you know, we are very excited to have him on board. And he's helped us with some interviews already. And he's already started working on schedules. And he is really hitting the ground running, even though he is way north of Roby right now. So he is doing a fantastic job for us. And so we just wanted to introduce you guys to that. And Coach, do you have any introductory words to the community of Roby and to the board that sits in front of you?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you guys for allowing me to come and join you via Zoom this evening. It's been an honor, and it's been a great opportunity to come on there at Roby and join you guys and working with our young people. And I'm just excited to, you know, as Mr. Carter said, to hit the ground running and get going. obviously, as I said, I'm still a little bit north of you guys. And so once I get finished up here, I can't wait to get down there and get working with the kids, especially the summertime, getting the boys ready for football season and, really setting the arrow in the right direction for these young men. Just looking forward to, just sitting down with them, getting to know them, but also, teaching them about the game of football, but also about the game of life. And, obviously looking forward to working with all the coaches that we're bringing on, all the teachers, and working with the parents as well, and just working with the community and getting to know everyone in the community. Obviously the game of 6-man football is all over the state of Texas, and it's brought me all over, from Houston to San Antonio to my hometown, obviously up to Amarillo, and now it's going to bring me to Roby. And so I'm excited to just be a part of the community, be part of the school there, and just, excited to get to work, as he said. So, just my expectations coming in is, obviously all the kids, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, track, cross country, whatever it is, they work hard and do their best, and obviously get at it and, show everybody else the Roby pride that the town and the community and the county has. And so, met with the boys last Wednesday, met with the Booster Club and some of the community as well, and got to really kind of share with them who I'm about, and what the program is going to be about. And obviously would love to sit down with you guys, when I get into town and kind of go over all that with you, but just excited to, be able to listen on tonight and kind of, hear more about what's going on. So just wanted to introduce myself, and, if you guys have any quick questions, definitely can take that as well, or we can obviously keep going too. So.
Are you having questions? And
Looking forward to having you come down here. Excited to have you. Excited.
All right.
Excited to be down there.
Thank you, Mr. Charbutton.
Yes, sir.
Bringing our school bond update, architects, where we're at.
Yes, we got the men and women with the plans in front of us, and so we're excited to kind of look at an update of where we are, and we're so excited of what we were able to accomplish thus far. And so we're looking at the 50%. Is that correct? Is that the kind of the 50% of what the design and development, correct? The D&D?
Correct. This is our design development deliverable for y'all, but typically we would give this out before the 50% grant, but we work on it together. It's just because we did have the postponement of this meeting. We have sent our 50% drawings out to Gallagher and the district, which will have a lot more detail. This is more kind of a condensed rendering version, an update to what we showed last time.
All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to share the screen up here, guys. And if you guys want to just stand up and kind of go through with us and help us to understand kind of what's in here, and we will do our best to.
Sure.
And I will say before they get started that it has been an absolute pleasure to work with these individuals. They have worked hard to make sure to see our vision, to see exactly what we want to see. And so we've been very excited about what we're going to show you guys tonight. And the document that you guys had over the weekend is not the new document. We were able to get some new design stuff that we wanted to see. So what's in your packet tonight and what's on this in here, is that the same? What you see is going to be the most updated from what was in there before. So I've just replaced with this. So please feel free to go and go through and let us know what we got.
Sure. Yeah, we can move on. So, like I said, the last time we were in front of you, we showed you the schematic design, which is primarily more plan-oriented and exterior, just kind of taking the placement of the buildings and all that sort of stuff. So some of this here is going to look familiar. We do have, of course, the aerial. We've got this next slide will be the overall site plan. And then keep going.
I am not Vanna White, so just you tell me if I'm going too fast or slow.
Again, most of this stuff has had, I think it's fair to say, minor changes with our meetings with Jason and Missy. But we kind of keep rolling through the demo plan here. The next one would be the overall kind of high school and addition plan.
And you'll have the bigger sheets. You will be able to see everything that you want to see. I mean, so it's a lot better. I love you. Thank you all for bringing this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And so this will give you a chance to see, the schematics in it.
Right. And like I said, most of this is updates. So if there are any questions, please feel free to just jump in and we'd be happy to answer them. And I'm sorry, before I get too far into this, I didn't introduce my team. So Nandita has been handling most of the modeling and just overall drawings for the Roby stuff, and very happy to get her out here to see the site firsthand because it's just been Google Earth and all the photos and everything, right? And then when we transition from SD to DD, we go from a lot of exterior work to a lot of interior work. So that's when we brought on Madeline. She's from our interiors department. And so the renderings that you're going to see later on in this packet, that's her handiwork. She's come in and picked a material palette out. And we actually have some of those materials in the other room, and you'll see kind of an image of just that. But we brought the actual physical samples so y'all can see what it looks like, because printouts and screen images don't really do it justice.
So we'll bring those in as well. So you guys will see those in just a minute. So that'll come with this. Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I think this plan overall has been kind of minor tweaks of how y'all wanted your offices laid out, where you want doors accessing the corridor and all that kind of stuff. Kind of keep sliding through. We did a lot of work. Nandita, I shouldn't say we, it was mainly Nandita, did a lot of work on the science lab. We're going to show, we have an image showing new casework, and of course, a lot of it is going to be bringing it up to code with all the cutoffs, isomet cutoffs, and all the proper science equipment to keep it as safe as possible.
And he had talked about that he had worked with Misty and myself. This is also a collaboration with our teachers as well. So Ms. McWilliams did a fantastic job of going around and getting input as to what do you see, what do you not see, those types of things. So this is a collaborative effort all the way through. And so this has been an excellent thing for us to be able to do. So in the science lab, Ms. Moore was able to help us say, okay, how would it be best to set it up in order for us to make it the best that we can for both a student classroom and from a lab perspective as well. So
sure, I think she gave us a pretty detailed sketch, so she helped us out. Yeah, so the ag shop, one of the big things is we took the time with the equipment list, some existing, some new equipment that y'all anticipate having. So we've laid that out with the proper spacing in between. So we're just inching closer to the final layout on this. We did end up kind of pushing that building around a little bit on the site. After we got the survey back, we noticed the power lines, obviously, that come across, and then just our proximity to the transportation building that y'all have on site. So we pushed it back from the curb and pushed it back from that building so that we're not interrupting any kind of drainage off of that existing structure. And obviously we try not to relocate utilities when we can. So that's the main thing that's happened here. Because of that, it changed the overall dimensions a bit. We're still keeping the same square footage, I believe, but it just got a little bit more of a square shape than rectangular. But other than that, it's just equipment layouts and updates. I do think last time we talked, I'm sorry, it's been a while. I don't remember which one of y'all, but talked about the locker placement and having to walk into the building. So we took that into account. We put it in the entry so you have a space where they can access the lockers without walking through the classroom space. Just trying to take those comments and make them work in the plan. We want the building to work the best for y'all, obviously, end user. So move on to the next one. The locker room scope, so of course we've got the demo plan again, and then the next one will show the new, and I don't believe we've changed a whole lot on this. I think we had some back and forth on locker sizes and counts and all that, but that's been the majority of what we focused on here, is making sure that we've got the correct number that you all need for the space to function for you. Keep going. So this is part of when we move on from SD to DD, we'll get civil, structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They all really start to jump in on this. And this is an example of what our structural engineer is working on. So you can see they've dove into the ag shop, the layout of that. It is going to be a pre-engineered metal building, but we still ask for their help of what to expect, because we have to kind of plan around that. Of course, there will be some changes, of course, on the pre-engineered people get the bid, but it gives us a good heads up of where to locate all the utilities and our walls and those details that we still need to draw. And of course, they're helping us out because the CMU in that building is going to be load bearing for the mezzanine and the storage above it. So structure has a decent amount to do with that building. And then of course, the addition in between, it's a little bit more straightforward structurally. So, but that's kind of a snapshot of what they've been working on for us. And of course, now we've got the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, because you've already seen the 50% drawing. So you see how detailed they have been. And this is, again, just a real high level overview of what they've been doing. Now we get to the fun part, back to the renderings. So
Just remember, a part of the bond is not all the green grass. Okay, so just when you see those, that is not always what our place looks like. So just know that ahead of time.
So the first handful are going to be pretty familiar. I don't think we've changed a lot on the exterior of these. But if we kind of slide through those, we can get through to the interior shots where we've made a lot of progress since the last meeting. So this is the material board. Like you mentioned before, we brought the materials with us so we can kind of lay those out so you can see them firsthand. But it's just labeled so you can see where we're anticipating using the different materials. And this is a shot of the new reception area. We are designing the reception desk, as well as you see the backdrop and the lighting that we have planned out for that area. Kind of a pass-through window for the vestibule for the check-in area that you can see there on the right. And I think we've just got kind of our field paint color, the carpet planned out for that area, and again, samples of all that in the next room.
Is there any question? I mean, this is new, so this is probably, see if you have some questions, this will probably be time where we could always come back to it. If y'all have anything, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next.
So this, of course, is an image showing the current library, which will be turning into the media. I forget what we'll put in there. Media and multi-purpose. So this is part of the changes that we've been working with Jason and Misty on. Just trying to get this to brighten up the space, I think, has been the main thing that y'all have asked for. So, and of course, bringing in a wainscot that's going to be a tile wainscot that just for the areas that are going to get rubbed with backpacks and shoes and things like that. And then we've got, you see the red area that's kind of pulled out from the wall, incorporating a display case. You know, we notice you have a nice table of awards over there, so we'd like to give you a space to put them out and showcase them nicely. Also, if you look back to the far end there, right, that's actually a clear shot through the to the new addition. So from this corridor, you will be able to see into the new corridor that we're connecting with.
And that was one of the things that they did such a good job on is that we were trying to create lines of sight so that there was never, you know, corners, that we were trying to make sure that we could monitor one location, larger areas. And so that's why we wanted to try to do this. And they did a fantastic job in finding a way for us to do that. So we were really excited for that.
And I think we nailed the red this time, right?
You did, yes, yes, you did.
Again, just kind of just another view down to the addition, so you can see, like Jason mentioned, the sight lines, and then another kind of, we call them transaction windows, but kind of a pass-through window to the office, and then of course a door from the office straight into the corridor, and just adding those the side lights where y'all would like them, just the full length glass next to the door, so you just get that extra bit of visibility. Move on. I think the next one is our kind of a little bit of a typical classroom layout for the casework. We looked at what y'all have in the existing elementary building, kind of the full wall of casework, and that's what we modeled this after. So the classrooms will be receiving new casework in this building and in the addition. And this one, you can see this rendering is one of these classrooms in the high school. We're showing the brick wall, and then what would be the new teaching wall. Now, we are planning on leaving the marker board separated like it shows, but we do know that these carts are going to be in place. It's not going to be a TV mounted to the wall. So we'll provide space in between so that cart can sit there. And of course, we'll be working with our electrical and technology to make sure that we have all the appropriate connections that are needed for the teaching wall.
And the reason why that we wanted to separate those is because the teachers still want that ability to write things that they don't want to erase, that maybe their homework assignments, everything else. And so instead of how our classrooms are now, you have the full wall, and then you're taking up part of that with your interactive board. And so by doing this, you're still getting your board, but you're also having your instructional whiteboard as well right there. So that's why we wanted to split that. And so the teachers were really well receptive to that.
Yeah, I think we got a pretty candid feedback on that in one of the Zoom meetings when I think it was one of the teachers walked in and we got to hear the reaction. Thankfully, it was a favorable one. It's always good to hear. So this is the science room. So updated casework layout. And then I think the next image shows kind of the classroom side of that. Again, mainly casework updates, and then of course we'll be updating for code in that room as well. And if I'm missing anything, please jump in.
All right,
steal the show.
The next screen that you're going to see is as if you're looking down this hallway. Okay, so the red that you see at the far end, that's what we're fixing to see. Okay.
So what we did here is obviously because we have a grade change in between the two buildings that's right outside this back door. We have to have a ramp there and then of course some stairs. So I don't believe, well, we didn't have an image of the interior last time y'all saw this. So we didn't like how it kind of bottlenecked. You want that to have a free flow in between the buildings. And just because of where the connection is made, it kind of made us shift to the building over a little bit. So this is a way that we could open that back up so it's not just a tight bottlenecked area, and then make use of the space if we want to provide some soft seating or maybe a lot of times we'll see like charging stations, things like that, in kind of smaller areas like this. And then of course we've got the Roby red, and then just a nicer kind of decorative lighting element in that area. And then of course this image is looking down the rest of the corridor towards the elementary school.
And then once again, they did such a great job of the direct line. So you could be at one location and be able to monitor a very large area. And so that once again is that safety and security measure that we wanted to make sure was in place.
And then we wanted to show a couple of images of the nurses' room as well. Just to kind of give an idea of the casework that we're planning for that area and where the cots would be. So these last two images are. I believe that's. Oh yeah, the ag shop. Sorry. Can't forget the ag shop. Yeah, so this one we've got the shop side, and then we have the classroom of the ag shop. So again, this is kind of looking at the shop side of it, and with the request for multiple overhead doors. One of the things we looked at was providing the work tables on casters so that they could be moved out of the way. When y'all have a larger project, I know when we toured the ag shop originally, we were kind of stepping over the trailer that they've been working on in there. And so this is to provide room for those larger projects. And then of course, the side that you're not seeing in this image is a full pass-through. So there will be doors on either side that can drive completely through. And with those mobile tables, we also plan on having the retractable power outlets overhead, so you can kind of get those out of the way when you need to. And then of course you can see the mezzanine level up above. And that large window is actually looking into the shop office. and that's a pass-through. So that window, there's a window on the other side of the next image that you'll see. So the office of the shop teacher will be able to see both in the classroom and in the shop. And if you're in a shop, you'll be able to look all the way through into the classroom and make sure, again, line of sight type deal, make sure nobody's doing anything they shouldn't be doing in there. So yeah, the last image here is the shop classroom. Similar treatment of the teaching wall with the double marker boards, the space in between for the mobile card. So I'll end up putting one in there. And then of course the Roby red accent wall in the back. And I believe we're doing concrete floor that we're planning, or just a different material? LVT.
What's the interior walls? I mean, that's looking like a tall block.
On this, it'll be load-bearing CMU. So we'll be painting just directly on the CMU.
That's mainly due to mezzanine, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Above that.
The interior of the shop will be spray foam or?
For the insulation, so we've done spray foam. Personally, I've done ones where we've had multiple layers of that insulation. And then they've got kind of a protective backing on the inside of it. But we're planning on the lower level, probably up to about 8-10 feet, I believe, to be a CMU block. So it's more protected. Obviously, shop's going to have stuff swinging around. So you don't want to just punching holes in the insulation, and even worse, denting the outside of the metal building. So we're planning on resilient walls to be on the lower level of that. But as far as the insulation, we haven't really picked a solid direction on that, but I typically see a bath with that protective layer behind it. But we have done both as a firm. Do you all have a preference of like a spray in, or I don't know if you have a building that's not performing out here the way with a certain type of insulation? I would definitely like to make sure that we address any of those concerns.
The only thing I've seen is the bats, usually over time, lots of years, they'll start separating and what holds them up. I mean, you need to have some kind of protection. I get either block wall, most of them I've seen they use metal or.
Yeah, even sometimes they have the kind of chicken wire fencing or whatever, but I think the fall safe, the white sheet protection, that stuff's really stout. And that's what I personally have used on projects similar to this in the past. And it's strong enough when they're using it on the roof side that they actually use it for fall protection. So they'll put up the white protective sheathing, and if somebody were to slip while they're installing the rest of the roof, that can actually hold the man from falling all the way through. So it's some pretty stout material. And it's just a nice kind of white. It's gonna kind of disappear. It's not like seeing chicken wire or anything. It works pretty well. If y'all would like, we can go ahead and bring materials in. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, and if we can look at those, that'd be fantastic. I wish the green grass came with it. I mean, that would be fantastic, even if it was sprayed.
Well, wasn't sure about put dirt down and put manure on it and fertilize it and lay it out there and really water it.
Really water it.
People get the weeds there.
Hey, that's the greenest part. What are you talking about? That's what I have in my yard.
Would y'all prefer to, do y'all want us just to lay it out?
Whatever's easier for you guys.
Because some of them are full size.
Sure, yeah.
So it's a little.
Oh, look. This one?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
that
something
red,
that we can, if it's not exactly what you're.
okay, the red that Danny has right there is this wall. Is that what this is, or is that what?
The lower portion of
Okay,
it.
the lower
So
portion,
that's
okay.
the wainscot on this image. So just, what do you have, that 4 foot on this?
Yes.
Yeah, and if y'all want to look at whatever it is on whatever the screen is, let me know and I'll move back and forth to whatever screen y'all want to see.
This flooring is going to be throughout the
The holes.
And so this is like classroom and this is
Yes,
common
yeah,
space.
and this will also be in admin as well.
It'll be in the action. So
This
In the
is in the ag classroom, this is in, like administration and those offices and stuff.
And one of the main benefits of the LVT is it doesn't require waxing. So that yearly maintenance of having to move classroom furniture out of the way to come in and wax, that's something you don't have to worry about with that product.
This one is a restroom wall tile.
Procedure for
And
maintenance.
then we're gonna have the.
For the LVT? Yeah, it's just cleaning.
This is
Yeah,
the
and of course, we'll
wainscot
have a
tile.
certain amount of attic stock if something gets
And then
damaged,
just run an
finishes, just
extra-
like we would with
So this is
normal
the
VCT
primary
or
wall.
typically with the carpet, we'll do a tiled product as well.
This is.
Unless we do have some districts that prefer to still have it in rolls. But with the tile, we found
And then this
that
one's a
it goes in really fast and then if you get
Kinda
a
same.
damaged piece, it can be
Stone,
replaced.
stone,
Yes.
neutral.
Just in a piece, you pull it out, or scrape it, put it back in.
and we're bringing the library up to level.
Yes, it is. Yes, there will be no.
Drop down.
No, there will be.
It gives a little bit more space, obviously, because
Also approved as far as your new addition on your entry, you have to have,
This one.
you have to be compliant as far as your rent.
I just brought a bunch
You
of
have a ramp somewhere?
reds.
for here.
For that, for that.
And then-
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they got it.
yeah.
You talking about over here?
Yes.
Yeah, it has stairs, kind of like how it is now.
Okay.
Danny, are you talking about the extra addition, the addition
Going
building?
into the hall.
Right there, right here.
Yeah.
I saw the, I didn't know. if-
Let me see if I can, right there you go. So you have the ramp on the right and stairs on the left.
Yeah. So that's where you would walk out, enter the ramp, and then go the rest of the way up.
Do we have to put which way here?
We got it.
Y'all have it.
So we will need
Photoshop.
as far as that goes, but I think we've got the space where we can work out a ramp on that side. We do need a ramp to the front
I'll keep
entrance.
looking at.
Oh,
send them
absolutely.
And we've also got it in our plan, for the shop building, we'll have to have an accessible route across that parking lot. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, these are accessible the way we show them, but we do know, if you imagine your high school's over here,
That will be.
you do have, curb cut into that sidewalk already, so what we're planning is kind of leveling out a strip of the parking lot that'll get you all the way over to this building, because we'll also have to have an accessible entry from your school to that building. Do I?
California curve.
Yeah, it'll be kind of a speed hump, so to speak.
It's like, summertime.
Yeah. You got some BMXers out here that, yeah.
I was wondering.
Oh, yeah.
We did. I enjoy it, dude. So the water going from the house for drainage and it's just like a duck.
A little more than a duck
I'm down, get it, come crawl into the river.
Someone dug him a drainage ditch and all that.
I hear you. I'll go back and find him Scarlet.
That's what I found. It never gets sung, but it's there.
Board also, one thing that we did forget to talk about is on the third page, the elementary high school plan proposed. One of the things that we talked about to do a little bit differently is the bathroom. Instead of having doors, like how you have a door and another door is actually just an entry in. So in other words, what that does is it allows us to not have doors that, students on the inside know when you're in there. It's just a straight walk in. So that's kind of more of a safety security measure as well. So that's one of the things that Ms. McWilliams and I really have tried to look at is exactly ways that we can utilize not only the materials, but also the design to make it a little bit less enticing to try to do any shenanigans. Not that ever happens.
No.
But, if indeed it were to do that, this shenanigans, some of the will to do so. So that was one of the biggest changes. Ms. McWilliams, was there any other changes? There was, all of it was just little stuff other than that. That was really the major,
Did you say what?
the bathroom, yes, was that the main?
The only other thing I can say is that these lights look really nice, but I can see kids jumping at them.
Surely not.
I mean, in real life, I think it's a bit of a temptation.
Yeah.
I could touch it.
It looks pretty, but,
Touch it.
I mean, it won't be too high for them to try, I promise.
Yeah.
So,
What I'm saying, you having cameras and stuff there also, right?
Correct, yes, yes, and so that will be another, that is correct, yes, and so, and the nice thing about where everything is with those straight lines of shot is one camera can go a very long distance, and so it's not that we're having to multiply put in different locations because there's a corner. And so, and then also on, the other thing that they did a really good job of is, let me see if I can find it here. We did not talk about it, but, okay, right here. Where you see down the hallway just before you get to the actual red area, is that, did we still have it in there, the hallway to the auditorium? Is that correct? Is that okay? So in other words, just behind, so in other words, before you reach that new section, there's still going to be a hallway that takes you to where the current door is to the, so there's an additional entrance to get into the auditorium.
Floor plan.
Next.
Yes, correct, yes. And on the floor plan, it is also there too. On that same page, you'll notice that it is there as well. Thank you for saying
And
that.
we did add the door that y'all requested.
Oh, yes.
To that corridor,
Yes.
so that it's not a hiding spot.
We try to limit as many hiding spots as possible.
What if you just took that wall up and just be, wouldn't even have a corridor?
So there's, yeah, with us adding on to the building, we have to have a fire separation between the two. So that will actually be a fire rated wall.
Existing brick wall, whatever it is, isn't it?
Do it.
It'd be an existing brick wall, you're just gonna leave it.
Yeah, we're gonna leave the interior side when we'll, adjust the finish to blend in with the rest of the building. And then on our side, with the addition, we'll have another wall, because we have to treat it, since it's gonna have a separate structural system, we need to treat it in a way that if there were fire on one side, that building could, not, obviously, we don't want it to happen, but that building could collapse without taking the other side down with it.
But you needed that corridor, didn't you, to get access to the,
to the back side of the auditorium.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you gotta have the hallway, right?
Yeah, we looked at potentially closing that in, but it was something that we talked with Jason and Misty and wanted to keep that access to the auditorium.
Just
One of
those
the-
offices open and just leave them stools and tables and just leave that big.
Absolutely. I'm all good with it.
Just kidding.
No, I'm good with it. No, I wouldn't mind having the little, where you sit on the floor and, you have your little workstation down there. I'm not standing up. I'm not one of those people.
You need a
that's gonna
yoga
stand.
ball.
Yes, give me a yoga ball. I'm good. The other reason why that we wanted to keep that corridor there is because when we have elementary that's needing to utilize that, we did not want them to have to go all the way through the high school building to get in. And because again, as well as I do, we do have some of our staff that would not find that very enticing to have elementary students volumes as they come through the high school. So that just gives us a chance to get them an exit in, also an exit from the backside, so that we can kind of maintain exactly control of exactly who's coming in and where they're going out. And that also gives us another chance that in the event that we have an emergency, we have an additional entrance exit that we can go through as well. So that's really, we really wanted to try to keep that there if at all possible. And so this, I just felt was a really good way that we could, utilize all that.
What about all the lighting? I mean, just in general, the tile lighting, I mean, going to LEDs or?
That is really what the code pushes towards now, that we're in the energy code that we have to abide by. They don't explicitly say that you have to use LED, but all the controls and everything that they point you towards really make it more advantageous to go LED. It's actually cheaper to go LED when you're looking at the new code. So you'll see a big upgrade in just quality of lighting, and then ideally with LED, the maintenance is much lower. And we are in this building, and the addition, of course, is all going to be new in this building. We're currently planning on all the ceilings and lighting being replaced, so everything will be updated.
But it'll be the same tile?
We generally do the 2x2.
Okay.
And that's it helps prevent a lot of the sagging that you see, especially in the summer months when you're probably not running the AC very much at all, and that's when those tiles are going to tend to want to sag down a lot more. So the 2x2 keeps a much cleaner look for a longer time span.
Someone can see them.
least the art is in the elementary, all that ceiling work is done.
Yeah, I know. And that's what we're going to do is when they take these down, we're just going to ask them to save them. We're going to put them off the side. It's going to be our artwork section. So yes, we're going to have multi-purpose use of all of our facilities. So yes, absolutely.
Gymnasium, I'm just moving on somewhere else, but so we don't have any coach's office in the gymnasium whatsoever.
Do what now?
Coach's office or someone to monitor the kids in the gymnasium that they're.
There's a small coach's office right next to the men's restroom.
With the old maintenance, where the old maintenance shop is.
Where the old concession stand used to be, where the Rogers, yes, just right around the corner from the old gym. Yes, that area right there. Yes, there will be one there. But it will be a small one. Again, as we have talked about, the concern of monitoring students is if they're in the coach's office, they're not monitored. So not having, yeah, but I mean, in other words, to monitor, we need them not in the office. We need them actually monitoring. So that's why we don't want to anticipate that. Preferably not. That would be the great thing for us.
To keep their stuff, all their whistles in there. Schedules and stuff like that. Just to lock somebody in there because I want to disrupt the class.
All right, is there any more questions on any of the design, any of that stuff? Is there anything else that y'all want to before we move into the next section, which is going to look at cost? Anything else? Is there anything else, Mr. Kerrigan? Mr. Raspberry? Mr. Estes? Denison? Kelly? Mr. Raspberry? Okay. All right, guys, thank you all so much. This is amazing what you guys did.
Thank you, guys.
It's like Christmas every single time that we get on a phone call with y'all. Okay. If you guys will look at your next document down on your list, is the DD 50%, and I will try to blow this up. It's not going to look very good up here, so you guys will want to look at it on your, oh my goodness, okay.
You need to get a packet or budget estimate?
Budget estimate. The packet is this material, so you'll have a copy of that to always look at, but then the budget estimate. And so I will turn this over to the masters of the math. And so I will tell you, they do a phenomenal job. And I'll be honest with you, the last time that we talked, Ms. McWilliams will tell you that I came very close to going to Whiskey Dents before they called, because I was really not sure what we were going to look at budget wise. So I was a little bit better off once they talked to us. So they're going to go through this for us.
Well, this is, guys, it's just a snapshot of where we are currently with the documents that you looked at tonight. So we've not done anything with we've gotten the 50% CDs. We've started working on those and comparing them to what we've done so far. We don't have a whole lot of information to go through here. Just gives you a snapshot of where we are. We broke it up between the classroom, the ag shop, and the renovations. The bond budget being the 10.8. If you look at those numbers, we're roughly under about $650,000. The area where we're going to be challenged with is going to be that locker room renovation. We're going to break that out as an alternate. I know WRA is drawing that as an alternate. We'll bid it that way. Hopefully the numbers will come in more favorable on the base bid that allow us to accommodate that locker room area. Right now, though, we've made a lot of assumptions. We've not taken it out. James has done all the work, so I'm going to take credit for any of this, just like Alex did with his group. But James has spent a lot of time on this. In the DD set and SD sets, you don't have a whole lot that you can quantify at that stage. They do a great job of giving us a lot of information to look at and to put numbers on. But we are
a little bit of updating when we got it just before we brought these numbers forward. So I went through real quick and tried to sharpen my pencil a little bit, and it did help quite a bit. Very much appreciate you guys giving that to
and
us.
then the narrative they gave us a lot of information to help try to put that. And we did go out. We'll hit the sub community a little bit depending on what kind of information we had. I believe James was able to get out to a lot of the
structurals, the AVPs. We reached out to a lot of the the more expensive trades, usually the ones that are a lot more fluctuating in their pricing depending on what's in the drawings. So we got a lot of good feedback that feel like we got a pretty good, roundabout number.
Yeah, so at this level, it's a lot of just our historical data that we're using. But if we can get a subcontractor to get involved now, take a look at it, obviously they've got a database of information they can use too.
And we tried using local guys
Yeah.
so that they could give us more of a regional pricing. So that helped out a lot too. That really helped.
So I think we're in a good place. I mean, we're glad to take any questions you have. I'm not overly concerned. I'm confident with the base bid and what those numbers represent for the bond. I think that gym lobbies or renovation is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Do I think it's 2.2? I hope not. And you guys all know what market we're in right now with escalation and materials and labor shortages. It's just, I wish I had a little crystal ball that says where we'll be when this comes out to bid. But unfortunately, I don't. We've got a project bidding here in about a month. We're going to have a lot better overview of how that comes out and what it's doing to the market. And then as we get into this 50% and update that, we'll have some information to use. So, and we'll get more interest as we get, like I said, once again, we're not putting out to bid to subcontractors, but we will with the 50%. We'll get a little bit more involvement with the trades, and that'll help these numbers as well. It'll be a little bit less guessing at that point in time.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we talked the last time, actually inside of the bid for the high school renovation is also including the AC. Y'all went ahead and put the AC in the roof, correct? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so remember, initially, guys, when we talked about this, we were talking about in the event that we had to, we were going to take on that, on our own. And so just understand that they were able to put this in. Now, again, these are all estimates, but we're also looking at these were what we thought we were going to have to bring in. And so this is a good positive. This is a positive that we're in the right space for some of what we're thinking. We were anticipating on having to use some of our own money, but as of right now, unless the stars don't align, then we're sitting in a really good spot even for that, because that's including two things that we did not think would have to be there. So that was really good news when we talked the last time. So just understand that that's also included within that. Now, the other thing that I asked them to do, which they did a fantastic job on, is that we looked at that the alternates cost of 2.392, and so what Ms. McWilliams and I asked them was okay, so if 2.3 is to renovate all of this, what would it be if we were to go outside of that and say let's just build locker rooms, in that area in between the new gym and the weight room? What would that cost if we just did that by itself? And so they were able to bring in that, and I believe that's on the next slide that you have. And so we'll get to that here in just a second. But what you'll notice is that the cost is what you're getting for the locker rooms. We're getting 6 locker rooms. The restrooms are taken care of, and it also allows us to use both of our gyms at the same time. So bang for your buck, we're really sitting still pretty good, even with us having to do all of that in the gym. And so the one consideration that we need to think about is that this will be the last summer that the gym will be in use. For next summer, there will be no one allowed in the building, because once they start, everything is shut down. That means all gyms on both sides, everything is gone. So there will be no one in the gym until they are finished with all the renovations because of the abatements and everything else. So that's the one, it's not a drawback. I mean, I would rather take one summer to get all the stuff taken care of than, have to do it in small projects at a larger cost, because we did talk about, what if we did this one section and then we did this, that we were looking at potentially cost increases. And so we were trying to look for the biggest bang for a buck. Is that correct in that? So we were really trying to look at it from all different angles. And so we challenged them in all different ways of, what if we did this? What if we did this? And they were able to give us all those figures. And so I also gave you that comparison as well. You'll have it on the next document that has 3 columns. The first one, I believe, Mr. Estes, is the first one, what's on this sheet, correct?
First one exists,
Okay,
yeah.
and then the second one is the
the new freestanding.
Just, and that would be the,
That's an actual existing project that we did in Mesquite, for Mesquite ISD. And so what I did was I took that, and what the project cost square foot wise, and we moved it into what y'all's current square footage is for the locker rooms. And we just did a simple, you know, what could it look like? And that's what we have here on the last column, is taking that information and building the new building that way. So.
and so, and really, you're only looking at, you're not getting the junior high locker rooms, which is a huge issue, which we've all identified is a necessary. And so that did not help our cause. And so by looking at it from that one financial perspective did not make sense. We needed to look at what's going to be best for both our junior high, our girls, and our boys. And so to do that, we needed to continue that same project where we currently are. And if you'll notice on the screen, if y'all still have the original one that shows the alternate cost, it shows, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we were to take everything, the alternates plus the estimated project cost, that's 12.537. The budget that we have for the bond is 10.8, and we're over 1.737. Now, also remember that we have the loss in revenue payment. How much was it?
1.8.
Okay, so look right there. We're already, even with that going, and that takes nothing out of fund balance. We haven't even touched fund balance. We've taken everything from the bond and from the lost revenue payment, and we're still going to be under by just using those. And remember, we talked about that we were willing to take on our cost of saying the air conditioner and the roof. So anything that's going to go above that, if we go into our fund balance, that we're going to be not dipping in near as much as what we thought we were. So that's a fantastic place to be. And so that allows us the opportunity to, if we want to put a chandelier in, we certainly can. If we want to do that, we certainly can. So that's, they laugh at me all the time because I talk about chandeliers all the time. But do you understand what I'm saying? So I just want y'all to think about it from the perspective of, even if we're going into fund balance, which right now, if you just take what we have, again, assumptions,
Sure, yeah.
that we have the padding in there that we did not know that we were going to have. So really, honestly, we're in a very good situation overall. We're going to be able to address our academic needs, our facility needs. Yes. Is it going to be another year before we can do anything in the gym? Yes. But it is the best that we can come up with for what we have. We have the plan play, going forward. Plus, the nice thing is not doing it this summer. We have camps coming in, everything else. So we're going to be utilizing that facility all summer long, which is a fantastic thing. But we're going to get it on this year, and then we're shutting it down as soon as we can get the go ahead that we're allowed to, that we can say go, and then we'll shut it down, and it's theirs until it's done.
And there's built-in contingencies in these numbers too. So, and we're not showing you all that now, but at some point in time, you're going to see a full breakdown of every number we have. It's just kind of early for that. But as we go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you go through now with the board as to where do we go from here? What is what's it going to look like from the board's perspective from this point until construction begins?
Basically, it'll be kind of this process. They've got a couple more deliverables. I don't remember what those dates are, but you got the 50%, which I guess you've already given them.
75% at the beginning of this next month, right?
We've got, I think it's a bit more mid, right? Or at the beginning? Okay, yeah.
So there'll be another update of documents that we'll typically like to put out in price. Those are a little bit more complete. There's more information we put out to our subcontractors, and we hope to get more input from those guys. So we'll plan on giving you maybe another estimate update, and one that I'll show in more detail. I mean, it'll have from A to Z, everything listed. And at that point in time, your deliverable for 100% is in end of July. And at that point, when we get those deliverables, we'll put it out on the street. Usually takes us, from the date we get them, and take us about a week or so. We put together a bid package and all the information we need for the subcontractors to look at it. And then we'll send out invitations. We'll publicize that in your local communities. And that process usually takes about 3 or 4 weeks from the time we put it out, maybe a month, the time we put it out to when we get hard numbers back from the sub community. At that point in time, they come back to us. We'll review them, do scope analysis, make sure all the scope is included as it should be, make sure they got their insurances and their bonds and all those things. And then we'll bring a recommendation to the board. And here's the total sheet. Here's who all bid it. Here's all their numbers. Everything's transparent. And we'll list those subs that we feel like, we recommend for you guys to award and go forward with. And then we'll hit the ground running shortly thereafter that.
And on our side, we do have, like you mentioned, the 75% print coming up. So that'll be a deliverable. Then we'll have a 90% to follow that. And then once we do our 100%, that's what they send out to bid. And during that phase, we're accepting a lot of questions from the bidders so that we can clarify anything that needs to be clarified on the documents. So we're usually pretty busy during that time because there'll be a lot of questions. Hopefully, we try to get out the addenda. So we'll be issuing probably 2 addendas.
Usually 2 covers it.
And so just so we can get the set as buttoned up as possible to get all the scope covered, like you mentioned.
And during that pre-bid, or once we get the documents on the street, we'll hold a pre-bid meeting here that allows, usually with renovation, new scope or new projects, it doesn't really require, but renovation, we like the subs, those that want to come out, give them an opportunity to come walk, see the facility, see where everything is and what's really involved. So we'll have a pre-bid, and that's usually a couple of weeks after we put it out on the street. And we'll give you all that information, the dates and times and what works for you guys, et cetera.
If the contractors underbid it, are we held accountable for what they bid, or are they locked in at that price?
If they that's where that's our responsibility to sit down and make sure that they've got a complete scope. With our process, all those subcontractors are bonded. So they've got to provide a performance and payment bond. And therefore, if it ends up and we don't have that, typically that never happens. But if that's the case, then their bonding company, if it's something that they can't continue with, then it'll go back to their bonding company to finish the project for what's in it. That's the beauty of this process. It eliminates that risk from your standpoint. Yeah. Anything over 20 or 25,000, we require a performance and payment bond.
What you were saying, Mr. Carter, on this, basically where if you took everything we had and then what we got from the loss in revenue, is that something that while your guys were here or the subcontractors were here working, we would just pay that money out to have that part finished? The 1.8 or whatever that would, how would that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because the first part is bonded money. Other part would be.
So in other words, as we get that in, then we would just at that point cut the check. Is that correct? I've never done that part, but anything over to the 10.8, do we just cut it?
Yes, there'd be a change order.
Okay, that's it. We would just, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Timeline wise, what is starting building, if everything went smooth from here on out, when would we start construction on the ag shop or the new addition or this building?
Yeah, if we get the documents into July, get them on the street, just second week of August, bid it mid-September, line that up with your board meeting, September board meeting, or maybe it's the October. So I'm just gonna say end of October start maybe at the latest.
How are we gonna arrange that? We're gonna be in school.
Okay.
Are we gonna?
So one thing that they do a fantastic job is that working around everything else. So for the most part, if you think about it, the ag shop, no one will be around it. Right. And so that project will be able to go on. The project behind here, no one will be in. We'll be able to utilize the outsides of the building. That's why we're trying to get the playground in this summer, is so that we at least have a place for our kids to go play. They've already looked at it from the perspective of being able to put up the safety fences and everything else. So we're still going to be able to utilize every bit of our facility without even touching. Now, again, is it going to be loud? Yes. But otherwise we should not have any major issues with that other than, inconvenience of having to get
the high school project, will it fall into next summer, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the renovation.
Well, that's what I was more curious where we're gonna put the students.
Yeah, we can't do unless, there's a as we get towards the end of the year before that summer, maybe we can start getting in here a little bit early, but yeah, that's
that's gonna be that's one of the things that, you know, in the event, let's say that just because if it happens, you know, they get done with that area earlier, you know, then it may be something that we can actually start getting kids out of here earlier and then start. So, I mean, we're going to get them in this building as soon as they possibly can. I can assure you. And like I told them, I said, if you need workers to slam anything around, we've got teachers with sledgehammers. They'll be more than happy to help in any way they can to knock this building down. So, I mean, they'll do whatever it takes. But yes, that's one thing that we really do appreciate about what they do, and the recommendations we've gotten from other schools is that they work so hard to make sure that, you know, number one, we're not inconvenienced any more than necessary because our job is education. So they do a very good job with that. So that's why we're really, I think it's really going to work out well in that perspective of that. Technically, when the ag shop is done, I mean, there's nothing different for us. Our kids go out to it. That one's already done. And then now we've got some other rooms that we can start to kind of
We'll have a site logistics plan for what you were talking about, being able to work around the kids. Our guys are used to doing that. We do it all the time on other projects. It's, our guys take that very seriously, separating the kids from the workers and making sure that we don't have those issues. So,
and I've already told Debbie she may, you know, have her office in the middle of the parking lot. She said that'd be fine, and so she's all good with it. Said as long as it doesn't blow her hair, she's all right, and so that's it. So otherwise, we're good to go. So, but anyways, that's one of the things we're excited about. Is I think that it's really going to be, of all projects that I've been a part of, this is minimal displacement.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a really good transition, I think, all the way through. So I really think it's going to be good. So. Any other questions?
Looks good so far.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, thank y'all so
Always
much.
does.
Just let it be good.
It always does. There'll be a bump in the road, I promise you, somewhere, but we'll deal with it. There's just no two ways about it.
Yes, sir.
It's the nature of the business.
If there's a bump in the road, you just take bulldozer and take it out. So,
I think we've already hit one major bump, getting through 2020.
yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, I was really concerned when he said knock on wood. I don't want you to knock the table down. That's expensive table right there. Wood nowadays, I mean, come on now, be careful with it. And so, guys, thank y'all so much. We very much do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would y'all like us to leave with these extras, or?
Yes, that'd be fantastic. We'll stick in the office. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Y'all have a good evening.
Yes, you too. Okay, see you later. All right.
Thank you.
Ready to move into bank depository?
Yes, sir. Board, you have as a regular agenda item B, consider bank depository contract for 2021, 2022, 2022 to 2023. We did send that out in accordance with law, and we did receive one bid back from First Financial Bank of Roby. And so my recommendation is that we approve the bank depository contract for First Financial Bank for the 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023 academic school years.
So right now, the interest bearing will be at 0.2259 on everything we have. Did they change the FDIC rules on the amount of money that they will guarantee for a school system?
I don't have a clue on that.
I think they did. That was a question a few years ago. The amount of money was how much they would, FDIC would insure. I think it covered us.
Okay. Well, and actually in your document, the 545 page document,
Yeah.
and I've got other ones in here, that's actually one of the questions that has to be answered and asked and answered is that can you cover, does your actual accounts cover all of the, because we have to provide them all of the information as to the number of investments that we have, the number of the amount of money, can they cover that underneath the FDIC? So what you're asking there. Let's see here. It is under
Used to be a number. Something.
Yeah, it's under,
If it's 110% of whatever excess PLC, it'll still give you a number. That's what I was sitting there reading. I'm sure they do.
how do we get there?
We still have Mark on.
Do it. Mark, are you still on? Yes, he is.
Yes, sir.
He's still awake.
You been there the whole time and you said hello?
I did say hello earlier.
I wasn't here.
That's what happened. He was muted though.
I'll make a motion to approve the bank depository contract for 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second on the bank depository. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. $195-page contract.
Would you like a copy? Okay, just check. I have them here if you need. All right. Trustees, the next one on the bid is regular agenda item C, consider approved bid of tax foreclosure property. This one is for property bid for parcel 5253, and it's going to James Kemp. You have the documents in front of you there.
I'll make a motion to approve the tax foreclosure property bid for parcel 5253 for James Kemp.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and second on foreclosed property tax bid 5238, I believe. Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? 6-0.
Yes, sir.
We have a second one here, next bid on, let's see, Tristan Allen.
I believe that the number on this one is it's going to be lot 3, block 4, lot 10, block 3 of the Macaulay. And it is.
There's 2 tracks in it.
That's correct, yes, sir.
So they have it 2 separate bids in here, but I'm sure they'll add together.
That's correct, yes, sir. The 43-4-300. The bid for that one is $300 for lot 3, block 4. The second bid for lot 10, block 3, which is 43-3-1000, is $800 for the total still bid of $1,100. And then I also, I believe all the track information and the maps and stuff are also in there for you to review as well.
Anybody have any questions?
That looks like a primal lot, Macaulay.
Okay, you get both sides of the street.
I'll make a motion to approve foreclosure on the lot 3, block 4, lot 10, block 3. Count numbers 43-4-300, 43-3-1000 for Tristan Allen.
Thank you, Ken. Who seconded it? Tony?
That was kind of a bland motion.
I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you.
A little passion in there.
Everyone's got
Like you can get this night or something.
Yeah, I know.
Think something, nothing, man?
I don't want coffee because I want to go to sleep.
All right, I've got a motion and second on the floor. Anything else? All in favor? Any opposed? count Mark 7-0.
Mark, are you good?
Yeah.
Red is mine.
And we are ready for executive.
You want to go in executive now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many different numbers we're going in executive?
We're going to go in under 072 and 074. If we need to take a break, we can.
So at 7:24, the board will go into closed session for 072 and 551-074. This one here.